Nobody's gonna say this, but most bosses in Singapore suck at leading people. Or do they? We brought back Siok here.
Everyone.
His name is Ryan. Most Singaporeans are actually not trained to be bosses. We're only trained to be workers. If a company or leader cannot prove that I am valued or progressing in my career, and I give you 6 months, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
If my boss cannot tell me clearly what I need to do or teach me how to achieve my goals, he or she is incompetent.
To a certain extent, yeah.
If my leaders cannot define culture clearly, explain to me what management jargon like trust, leadership, collaboration, etc. look like, or be consistent in what they say or do, I'm not going to put in my best either.
Okay, no, that's not true.
My question is how to correctly fire someone.
Is to let them see it coming. But today, Gen Zs, work is only one of a very small pie. You have many baskets in front of you.
It's maybe also an illusion. Like you think you don't need this job because you can side hustle, right?
That's a
You
great
try
point.
quitting your job. You try quitting your job and see, can you make 10K a month?
According to a 2021 LinkedIn Southeast Asia survey, nearly 60% of Singaporean professionals say they left their jobs because of poor leadership. That's a lot. That's a
Not
lot.
surprising.
Yeah. And I guess I want to know, in your experience, Xiao why are there so many bad bosses in Singapore? Here's my opinion, okay? I actually wrote down my opinion on why there are so many bad bosses in Singapore, okay?
Okay.
What I wrote is, most Singaporeans are actually not trained to be bosses. We're only trained to be workers. How true is this?
Okay, that's an interesting perspective. I would say yes to a large extent because I think bosses or leadership in general is not natural. Because as human beings, we are naturally like on a survival mode. We want to take care of ourselves. But as leaders, you need to take care of other people. You need to kind of think a few steps ahead. You need to kind of like take care of outside yourself, much larger, right? And create value and all this. So it's not really instinctive to do. Yeah. So it's quite counterintuitive. It has to be very intentional, therefore. Yeah. So, and unfortunately, a lot of, leadership, you're dealing with people and on top of the businesses itself. So when it comes to dealing with people, then you need to understand the psyche. You need to understand human nature. But a lot of bosses are not trained in these aspects. And therefore, they have to go through the trial and error. And in today's very fast-paced VUCA world, VUCA, basically people don't have it stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous.
Thank you. We got that. Okay, we didn't know what that was going to be.
I'm like, look at Jenny, I'm like, you know, man?
No, you know why? Because I tried to explain something the other day, and then someone was like, "No." There was a comment that was like, "No, you shouldn't over-explain things." So I'm like, okay, maybe everyone knows.
Okay,
Okay,
I'm
now I
not the
confirm
HR
VUCA is
expert.
a Gen X term.
Okay, VUCA is the first time we are
I've
hearing
never
this.
heard that in my life.
It's a corporate term.
Okay,
Yes,
my life
it's a
also.
corporate term. Your life is like...
No, but I do agree with like what you said because I was from NUS back in uni, right? And then I went to NUS Business School to take a course. And in business school in NUS, what they teach you is basically how to be an employee in business school.
Oh, True. that's
You would
interesting.
think that business school is about business, but no, business school is about like
How business works.
it's about how an employee should work. Like they'll teach you like
Interesting.
like, in a team, like this is how I do operations. This is how I do. But none of that has to do with being an entrepreneur and running your own business.
Oh, wow.
You
Okay.
So I feel like then these people graduate and when they start their own business, they bring this corporate mentality into entrepreneurship,
Yes.
which is the way to fail.
True.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
therefore, what do we do as human beings? We do what we think, how we have done, and expect it on others and impose our expectations on others. So if we work very hard, and then we would expect other people to work as hard, if not harder than me. Especially if I'm the one paying them.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, that
It's human nature, right?
There's this quote where you say, how you teach is how you're coached.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, how you teach other people is how your boss taught
Yeah.
you.
Taught you. Yes.
And I mean, this is all goes to your parents also.
It's true.
Yeah.
How you love your children is how your parents loved you.
True.
Yeah, I actually wrote a little bit more, right? And I think the reason why, apart from we are not trained to be bosses, we also have a culture of like obedience and hierarchy and fear of questioning authority. Most people who become bosses then bring this culture forward. Yeah, which is basically what I said earlier. In your experience, Johan, what do most bad bosses have in common?
I think when we say someone is bad, and please add a perspective, Ryan.
Please call them out. Now, okay, we have a checklist now, okay? If you possess these kind of traits, you are a bad boss.
Toxic. Avoid.
So I think bad bosses is when people who do not have the basic interaction etiquette, like they're condescending, they are disrespectful, they are super imposing based on the standards, and only they have the final say and things like that. But in short, all these traits basically make people feel bad. I think that's why there's a whole long list of what is a bad boss. And now the question is, what is considered good and bad based on whose standard are we talking about here?
What is your standard, eh?
I think it's about how you make people feel at the end of the day. Yeah. What's your
But
perspective?
then, does it mean that like if I feel happy means I'm a good boss? Like, cause technically, like if like my employee's not doing something good, and then like if I cannot like scold them and still make them feel good, means I'm a bad boss. Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
And you touch on a very important other point is that how do you grow someone or develop someone? I always tell my young leaders or co-founders that, you know, your employees are not pets, so you don't have to keep them happy. But your job is to grow them. Because I think the leadership is an integral part of the whole business model. And the whole business thrives on if you continue to grow, can continue to scale, and it brings value, right? So therefore, leadership main role is to grow people capital, people resources.
That's a really good. It's very interesting that you said people capital because the next thing that we had that I wanted to ask you about is what traits do most good bosses have, right?
Yeah.
So with the facts, according to a 2023 Randstad Singapore study, 58% of employees said that they would leave their job if their manager lacked people skills.
Yes. I think good bosses, basically, they are reasonable. They can be demanding, but reasonable, right? Because they empathize. They understand that, okay, I don't expect you to be like me. Otherwise, you'll be in my position, put it this way. They also are respectful and professional to some extent. So they maybe don't throw their personal emotion and all this all over you and be dramatic or temperamental. They are also, in a sense, it's like they understand. They kind of like listen and understand. That's why sometimes introverted bosses makes better bosses because they don't talk so much all the time.
Yeah, actually a lot of middle management in corporates are introverts. But okay, personally, as someone who has been hired and then later on has gone to hire people, I personally don't feel like a boss should be responsible for how your employees feel. I feel like, yes, I should not rent my CEO struggles on you because that's not your job. But I don't feel like I'm responsible for making you feel happy, fulfilled, and optimistic every day. I feel like if I have that effect, that's great. That's a bonus, but I'm not responsible for that. Which brings me to my point, right? Which is that the whole label of like a bad boss is dependent on who is judging. Maybe like I'm managing two people, and because one of them likes my working style and like has lived abroad and I've lived abroad, so we get along. To her, I'm a great boss. Then to the second girl, it's like I'm a shit boss because I'm not localized enough and all that, right? So it's very dependent because I can be the best at what I do commercially, right? But if someone dislikes how I lead or I'm just not their vibe in general, right? Then I'm labeled as a bad boss. So what do you think, Ryan? Then what makes a good boss? Do you think that there are like, it's very arbitrary, right? But then I feel like there can be some things which are like universally, this is a good boss. And then there are like other subjective factors as well.
I think I don't agree with you, eh? No, okay. Hear me out, okay? Because like, I feel like, yes, okay, I understand. It is not your job to make them feel happy. But as a boss, right, I feel you do play a part in trying to cultivate that kind of workspace that they have, you know. So you don't have to make sure like you're besties with them. But you can do things to like, for example, even like small things like, hey guys, what do you want for your pantry this time? Next time your order. You know, like small things like you don't have to like make sure that they're like happy at work, but you can make the environment better for them. So in essence, like just because they cannot vibe with you, I don't think that is like, that means you're sure a bad boss. But I think like if you can still like, you know, make their life happier.
Contribute to the culture.
But you don't have to make them happy. You know what I mean?
Correct. I fully agree with you, right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Talking about,
And I just want to add on is that it is a relationship after all. It's not about A or B, but it is about between A and B, the dynamic. How can we make it pleasurable or quality relationship? And therefore it takes two hands to clap, right? So as a boss, one with more authority, it it is on you to actually lean in and kind of like be proactive to understand how can I bridge the gap between this employee who doesn't share my style, right? And how to make this person contributing and actually feel comfortable and psychological safety and all this.
I think in line with that also, like, you have to know as a boss, right, that you are going to work with many different personality types. So I think it's also the boss's responsibility to like go read up on Enneagram types or like different types. You don't have to like change who you are depending on who you lead, but you should be responsible for knowing there are different types of people and how can I best work with my team members, right?
I kind of agree and disagree with that. Because, okay, now if let's say as a boss, right, I feel like that's compassion. Okay, if I'm working with different types of people, I will need to have compassion for different types of people. That will lead me to treating people very differently.
Yes.
That might have the possibility of people saying that I have favoritism. You get what I mean? So now if let's say Ryan is the poorer one, you are the richer one, Ryan will have more needs. If, for example, Ryan needs a pay raise as soon as possible, as fast as possible. I give Ryan a pay raise in 3 months. I give you a pay raise in 1 year. For example, because I mean,
Ryan's like, sign me up.
Just okay. I know that can mean that I'm a bad boss because I'm giving him a pay raise out of compassion. People can say that's a bad boss, or people can say that's a good boss because I know for a fact that Ryan spends most of his time in the office with me, and this is the only way he can earn money. Maybe his mom is going through something. I'm like, you know what, Ryan? I'll slide you. I'll raise your salary by $500. This is from me to you lah. And then you find out. And that's me doing both, right? Number one, I'm a good boss for having compassion. I'm a bad boss for having favoritism. So how do bosses manage these types of things?
Yeah, I must learn from you. How?
First of all, the criteria of rewards and recognition must be clear. If it's transparent, then there is no favoritism. Then because everybody can put in the effort to go for it, to gun for it. Yeah. But of course, I think we spoke about the last episode is where, you shouldn't be using personal reasons for a salary increment, for example. So I think it's more about, that's a separate story.
Like you can personally buy that person a meal. Like that's out of your own pocket. That has nothing to do with the company.
Or, help the person achieve certain work-life balance or allow the person to work from home, whatever. There are certain flexibility that as a leader, because as a leader, you have your professional capacity as a leader that comes with formal authority or formal power. And there is a personal capacity which you come as a person and you have your soft power. And your compassion. Yeah. So it is important to kind of toe and reach equilibrium between these two. Yeah.
I actually wrote all the traits that good bosses have, and we already covered 2, which is communication and compassion.
Yes.
The third one is integrity.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Does it make me a bad boss? Now, let's say that I just do everything for money. Right? Now, let's say in an agency world. In an agency world, right? Let's say a project. I can't think of a bad example. Okay, a good example would be now, let's say capital punishment. And then someone wants to pay us to talk about capital punishment. Money is so good and they say, hey, we need you to support capital punishment. Even though we disagree with capital punishment. And then I do it.
Wow.
Because it makes money. Because they're paying us $1 million, for example. And then I go, Janice, they're paying us $1 million. You need to do it. Does that mean I'm a bad boss?
No, it means you're a bad company.
Okay.
Yeah.
She calling out.
No, wait, but the company is usually reflective of the leader of the company, right? So if like the CEO has no ethics, then most likely the company can be like for profit, don't care about integrity, ethics, anything else. So I think that's not good. I think that's wrong.
Yeah, so then what's the line? You get what I mean?
Yeah. I
mean, but if you genuinely, I don't, but if you genuinely are someone who believes in capital punishment, then yeah, go for it, because that doesn't cross your line of integrity. But I feel like if you take on something that you don't believe in, as a boss, right? Just for money. It teaches your employees that they can do things because they're looking up to you as a leader, right? Then it teaches your employees that for money, I can cross certain boundaries. Then your accountant's gonna, for money, do certain things, add a zero or minus a zero.
So the question
But
here,
sometimes, like, you know, if like the man like a bit dry, all I'm saying is, right, like,
Right? That's
if
what
you
I'm
cannot just like, hey, one time for me, bro, then we can split, you know, like.
yeah.
so the question is,
Now I
who-
look like I got no integrity there. I tell you.
No, I feel like a lot of bosses go through this.
Yeah.
It is true, and it is a difficult conversation, right? And the question is, who disagree with the business? Is it the CEO's position disagree because the company vision, mission, values disagree? Or is it because it is the person, the leader himself as a person disagree with the personal value? There is a big difference. Yeah. If the CEO disagree because of the CEO role and because the company values and all this doesn't align with this kind of business, then the person has to turn down because this is a company thing. But if it is a personal value, personal core values like beliefs or whatever, but it is in line with what the business wants, then the person has to reconcile within himself or herself.
So that means if my employee don't want to do, but it aligns with like my brand's mission and vision, means it's their problem already, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Then
That
they
makes
are
sense.
getting into the personal decision.
Means
You get
it's-
what I mean?
I get it.
Yes.
I get it. Yeah.
And therefore in business, we actually talk about we go for alignment, not agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I pay you to do this job role. The job role has to agree as long as it's not illegal, it's not immoral.
Yes, got it.
But then you personally disagree and you want out. But I'm still paying you money. It's like, no out.
Then that's your problem.
Then we have to, of course, reconcile.
Yeah, it's like if I'm in
Reconcile, okay?
Not chuck it aside.
Yeah.
So am I a bad employee then?
yes.
Yeah lah, walao. You should know what you're signing up for.
I mean, I feel like if you're super like eco-friendly and you're sustainable, then don't go and work for an oil and
Yes,
gas
then you
company.
attract
You know,
different
like you
type of
already know that
employees.
it's not going to be a thing. Like if you
No, I mean, okay, like really, okay. I feel like okay, that is like really very specific
Yeah.
examples, right? Or specific
yeah.
industries, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like in the advertising world, marketing, we can market anything.
Yes.
right?
That's true.
And as creative people in a creative agency, now if let's say our job is to market an OnlyFans model,
slay.
it's gonna make us so much money, but it goes against my morals as a human being. Does that make me a bad employee if I say, boss, I don't want to market this OnlyFans model because young kids are watching this. Pass it to the next employee. Does that make me a bad employee?
It is something to discuss about and align because
Yeah.
there will be one campaign like that. There can be 5 more campaigns like that. Are you going to continue to turn down jobs? And then it will affect your performance because the role, the professional capacity require you to deliver it.
Okay,
no,
then
that's
question, sorry. So as a boss, right? Then if let's just say my employees say like that, do I make them still go and do it even though they don't want?
You have to talk it out and really understand what is their concerns. If it's really
Okay.
personal, then they have to maybe either seek a counselor or someone to coach and talk it
Okay.
through and delineate from their personal values versus the professional values.
And does that make Ryan a bad boss if the employee already said don't want? He's like, no, it's part of your job.
No, I mean, it's just that he didn't get alignment. So, yeah, he needs to then learn how to get alignment
Can
and
seek
negotiate.
consulting.
Yeah.
Referral, bro.
Okay, the next one. So I've had experiences where bosses are very involved in personal lives. Right? So I mean, I give you an example
It's
just now
giving
already off screen.
SME.
Yeah. So like, and I guess this is not really the boss's fault. So for example, if like we are really friends outside of
Yeah.
work, we will eat dinner together. We will on the weekends we hang out and everything, right?
Yeah.
I guess my question to you is, how much should bosses be involved in your personal life? Like, I know this is entirely up to you.
Yeah.
Right? You know, but like,
A judgment call, right?
yeah, based on a HR perspective.
HR perspective, I always prefer that there is a line. Yeah, because ultimately it goes back to how much trust you have with this boss. Yeah. If you know that this boss is mature enough to kind of wear a friend hat or mentor hat versus and then during office hour wear a boss hat, I think then there is more trust because there is, after all, conflict of interest or vested interest. If
Yeah.
if your boss knows that, oh, you're going through a breakup, and then or grieving or whatever, and then it does affect your work. And if this boss kind of like, with that context in mind, and therefore feel that or perceive you as, you're not productive, And therefore there are repercussions. I think it goes back to the trust level. Yeah, so no black and white answer to that.
How about mental health? Because now there are mental health
Yes,
of this.
this is a tricky one.
Is it?
Have.
Is
What,
it
like, is
mandatory?
it a legal thing?
I mean, it's not mandatory. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I think you need to Google this. I know there's a mental health day.
What?
That
Sorry
employees
guys, I
can
never
take.
give you a mental health days. I never knew I got mental health
No,
days.
like-
No.
It's
You have
not
to apply.
mandatory.
Employees have to
Oh.
apply.
Yes.
Where apply?
Employer or with MOM?
Employer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
When I saw this, right, I'm like, oh my god, the people in the creative world, every week there's gonna be a mental health day, right? What's the line with mental health? Like,
This is
or rather, when should bosses stop caring? Right? Because if now let's say I hire someone and he comes from a very poor family, he or she comes from a very poor
Okay.
family, right? Or a single mother, a single father.
Yeah.
And I know you can apply leave to send your kids to school, or you can apply leave to attend your kids' sports day or whatever. And this leave just runs out because you are a single parent. I understand, right? And it affects your mental health because then you are choosing between work and kids. And I get it, but I cannot give you that leave because part of the company, as in this is black and white, right? You're out of it. I cannot give it to you. Like, does that make me a bad boss? Like, basically, what is the line for mental health here?
Okay. I always believe that anything that cannot follow procedures or policies that is not BAU, business as usual, then basically require leadership. So I feel that in this kind of gray areas, it is a judgment call. This is where then your leadership comes in. If everything goes by policy, you still have leadership, go and apply her. There's no need leadership or judgment call on that. So this is therefore resides with the leader himself or herself as to how much compassion or how much understanding and how much he or she knows the employee
Yeah.
to have that judgment call. That's why I always ask leaders to really know your staff, know them personally, not just professionally. Because then it will come in handy when you have to make decisions like that.
I guess the only thing wrong with that is like the bad employees. So if they see
Yeah,
and then
and
they
like,
were
hey, he also can get MC or leave like that. So then I also do
yeah. I swear to God, right?
It happens, so it happens.
Yeah, it does.
I know. I
It
feel
does.
like, okay, if like a family member passed away, like one of your
No,
parents
that
passed away,
100%.
yeah,
Leave, now can give lah,
100%, right? But when it comes to mental health, it's so
Okay.
unquantifiable.
Yeah.
That is so
You're
that
right,
it's
you're right.
either someone is genuinely facing something which is not something to be trifled with, or someone is just milking it.
Correct.
You know?
So therefore, it has to be, there should be some grace period. Like, you know, if you tell me you have mild depression, for example, then let me give you, let's monitor a situation for a month or two, right? But after a month or two and you continue to say that is an issue for you, I would then require a medical report. Then we officialize it. And that becomes a lot easier when it comes to decision making.
Yeah.
Rather than I constantly feel like I'm cheated, maybe I'm lied to as a boss, and then versus are you milking and casting
Yeah.
doubt in here and there. I think it's just not setting up the relationship for success. Any relationship, a healthy relationship that has doubt, condescendment and all this, I think it's just not
It will grow and snowball.
Yeah, it's just not helpful,
Yeah.
right?
So I guess balance between like personal and policies lah.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like company
We don't
policies.
give off, give work from home.
That's a good idea. See, this makes a good boss.
Tell
Solid.
you. So it's like I get win-win ma. You stay at home, I still get the work done. No, I mean not. Okay, what? Right.
But if he doesn't get the work done, that's where the problem is.
Then I
Then,
say
then
that
that
one.
is called you are not doing your
Yeah,
job.
then that one is their problem already ma. Then I can finally shoot something.
Oh my God! Talking about work from home. Thank you
Yes.
for reminding me. This is so relevant in today's today's world, right?
Yeah.
So I think I read this somewhere where a lot of people are complaining about work from home because when they work from home, they are actually being way more micromanaged versus in the office.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it backfires sometimes.
Yes.
nowadays.
Yeah, so like they rather go to the office because if they're not in the office, every hour the boss will ask to either send a photo,
Yeah.
or
This is why this millennials, is it?
yeah,
That's
millennial-
crazy, yeah.
yeah, like
Some
No,
Gen
no,
X
no,
bosses.
no. It is a very good friend of mine. Like, the boss is like, you can work from home 5 days a week, but like 8:15 check in, 8:30 tell me what you're gonna do for the next 2 hours. Then like by 12 o'clock report what you've done.
Serious?
Then
I
like
had
2
that
o'clock.
in like
That's
a working
crazy.
office though. Like
Yeah.
I was in office and the boss is in the office with me, right? He knows what I'm doing. So every single time at 10, I must give in my what are things I'm doing. At 3 o'clock, I must give another one. At 5 o'clock, I must give another one. I'm like, you're there. You can look at what I'm doing. So imagine that, but like work from home. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like that. Yeah,
To
I've
me, it's
experienced
like
it before.
The
also.
boss,
gosh.
where is the boss getting so much time? Like, don't you have a
Good
job
question.
to do? Like,
You so free
your
micromanage
job
me.
is not to micromanage.
Yeah.
Nothing better to do.
So is that a bad company or a bad boss? Bad boss.
Bad boss.
It's just a bad
and
practice. I think bad habit.
company for
Okay.
the company allowing this boss to
Well,
keep doing
it
this.
does tells me that this boss wants control. So unless you find a way to proactively update so that it doesn't breathe down your neck, or you kind of establish a rules of engagement.
Yeah.
But right, I think to defend these bosses, okay, because no one talking about that, right?
Yeah.
I think another way to think about it is I don't think the boss will always start like that. I feel like because something happens somewhere where like the trust is being misplaced, that's
Yeah.
why it
Yeah.
becomes like that.
There are
Yeah.
certain beliefs,
The
right?
reason why I kena all of that, the boss over there still looking at my work is because someone before me go and do something wrong, then now I also kena. You know what I mean? Okay, so actually I've got a question to ask you. So if let's just say, right, I'm in a situation like that, right? How can I rebuild the trust with my boss so that I don't kena this kind of thing anymore?
Yes,
You
is
know?
to initiate a conversation to say, hey, boss, I noticed that you would like me to update you like this. Is there a better way where actually I can give you the peace of mind or update you proactively? And how can I support you? So I think is to lean in and have that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. So to take initiative and say that, hey, boss, I noticed that isn't it tiring for you? And it's like, is this your preferred work mode? I would prefer this work mode. How can we reconcile this gap?
Okay. Okay.
You don't need to have this conversation lah. You're the boss now.
Yeah, but last time lah. So to the people who are watching and kena this, go and talk to your
Ryan's employees, you can do that.
And your employees watching, they have a lot of.
You know my employees, so out of the 5 days, right? 3 days is work from home, 2 days 3 days work in office, 2 days work from home.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Yeah. So I think it's fine.
Yeah, because it's still important to build colleagues and co-workers relationships. And those who have less experience, like fresh out of school and all this, I recommend you 5 days work in office. Because you can learn so much more
That is
without
so
second
true.
guessing
That is
yourself,
so
sitting alone at home and you expect like suddenly you know.
No, and even when we had like the work from home days, right? Our team will want to come down to office so that they
Yeah.
can easily
It's
like,
the vibe,
hey, I
right?
asked you about this campaign.
Yeah,
Instead
so
of like, hey, I
easy.
text you, then I'll reply for very like long.
Then
you know what I mean?
wait, like, I'll check you whether you're green or online or not.
Yeah. That-
But I guess working from home is. I'm not gonna lie. Most of the time, half the time, you're not doing work lah.
No, but
Listen,
okay.
if you are.
no, but that's the thing. It doesn't matter because
You
the
still
boss is
complete your
paying
work at
you
the end.
to do this. So if you
Yeah.
finish this in 1 hour, great. If you finish it in 5 hours, great. If you need 10 hours then you better stay late to finish.
And those bosses who micromanage my time is because they usually do not set clear outcomes. So therefore, they do not know how to measure you based on the output. Instead, they measure you on effort. That's why they have to track you.
How do you measure on effort?
Exactly. By time, no?
Yeah. So
Then I'll just wayang, wow, boss, damn
Correct,
tiring
no?
today. Then promotion.
Yeah.
But
Is
it
that what
happens. It
happens?
happens in the corporate world.
Oh my gosh.
yeah. No, that is very good
Yeah.
advice or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it. Right? That is so true. Like,
Right,
yeah,
it is,
yeah,
it
yeah.
is.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if I pay for chicken rice, I get chicken rice. But
Correct.
if
Then
I'm
you don't
paying
care how you
$5,
cook, right?
yeah, I don't know what I'm getting. Then I'll be like, what are you cooking?
Yeah.
Like, are you cooking rice? You
What
cooking
ingredients
noodles?
you put, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, bosses.
natural.
So you better have a clear to-do list for yourself, and then you give your employees a to-do list so your employees know what to do. Just don't check on it at the end of the day. 1 hour before, I think 1 hour before the day ends, you check, hey, where is this? Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, pro tip if you're an employee is if you can't control your boss, right? And if you still want the job, you can be proactive and you can go to your boss and say, here are the things I plan to do for the
Yes.
week. What do you think? And if your
Yes.
boss is like, no, it's too little, or like, oh, this is great, you're going above and beyond, then you know you're good, you know?
It is a relationship, so manage that.
Okay. Let's move on to appraisals.
Oh,
Ooh, my favorite.
Appraisals.
How,
I have allergy.
based on your experience, right, how often should appraisals happen?
Well, if it's going through a motion 1 in 3 years, I think it's good enough. Okay, jokes aside. Anyway, appraisals today, the appraisal systems today are still largely meant for people decisions. So like who to promote, when to promote, and kind of like, is this a person of high potential, consistent performance, all this? Then once or twice a year is sufficient. But if you want to use appraisal as a form of a feedback, then try to not use appraisal, but have a monthly check-in, fortnightly check-in, or a more formal quarterly conversation to check in with your employees and kind of keep feedback to them. I think that would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I guess speaking for some bosses, right? Some of them really overwork. And a lot of them want their employees to work as hard as them. But they don't say. So it's like invisible pressure.
implied expectations.
Yeah, implied expectations. It can be little things where you leave at 6 p.m. They just look at you and like, oh.
Yeah. Well, nothing to do.
Simple things like that will make an employee feel like, oh my God, I'm not working hard enough, right?
Yeah.
I guess asking this from the boss's point of view, right? How do you get someone to work harder without making it sound like they are worthless?
You try me. Okay.
You're the boss. I'll let you answer first.
Okay, I don't know how to answer that question, but how I do it is, I will just set up like this. Okay, I tell my team, okay, this is the goal. Okay, die. I know it's gonna be tough, but we gotta hit it together. Okay, so every time I say, okay, we hit it right, we all go eat Pizza Hut, we buy your bubble tea, then we all celebrate together. So it's like at the end of the day. Got reward one, so we just crunch. I know sometimes they're working above and more than their office hours, and I never see, but I appreciate it. So I will still treat them at the end of the day. Yeah.
Cool.
That's what I do.
Yeah, nice. And I think getting them to work hard, I think the question then is for what purpose? Right? It is a means to an end, it's not the end itself. So it's identify the end. And making someone feel worthless is totally different thing. You can motivate someone to to own what they do, and therefore they work harder. But making them feel worthless, no matter under what kind of condition,
it's not going to
acceptable.
motivate someone.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
Yeah. So it's about what you want and how you make them feel. I think these two has to come together.
I always tell my employees, it's because a lot of my employees are very young. So I always remind them hey, remember when you O-levels or whatever, not you studying, right? Got the crunch time before the big exam. We will always take it as this next project is our next big exam. We just have to push it. And then I think when everybody come together and work for a specific goal, I think subconsciously they will put in a little bit more so that it can be done faster.
True.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not manipulation anyway. It's
no, especially if the boss shows appreciation, for the
and
effort.
if the boss is
Participate
there
as
with
well.
you.
Yes.
I think that's very important.
Do you participate in this?
Yes, I do.
Aren't you want to ask you, do you hire people older than you?
Yeah, of course lah. So young, then people will be older than
No,
me.
you don't have any talent pool.
Everybody want poly students.
Is that a problem? Or has it?
It has. So the first time we hired someone who's 28 years old. I'm 21. So it's 7 years age difference. And I think where he came, the working style previously was not very Gen Z. So for us, it's we're very chill. For me, what I tell my employees is I don't care how I get it done. ChatGPT or what, I don't care. But as long as it's done, I'm good. Right? So in a sense that we are quite lax like that. But then when he came in, he was hey, why is there no structure? He felt the need to be the second boss before me and Dewey. So he started to implement a lot of things out of his own ass, that kind of thing. And then everyone didn't appreciate it because it was a working culture that everyone was okay with, right? And then when he came in and said that, you must do this, the guy will stand behind the employees, see why you never do work, kind like that, Then I'm the thing is, I didn't know that
for a 28-year-old.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until I got the CCTV camera. Then I was
what's he doing?
So why are you standing there? Do I have work to do, man? You know what I mean? So when I realized that, when I talked to him about it, I was hey, everything was okay with you. Why are you making things harder for everybody? Then he's I just feel I feel it's a very military mindset.
Yeah.
It's I'm your sergeant, your recruits must listen to me, that kind of thing. I think he wanted to have that kind of structure because that was what he had in the previous company. Yeah. So that was the problem. So end up we realized that it wasn't a good fit for the company.
Yeah, culture fit.
Yeah, we had to let him go.
Okay.
But going back to appraisals, right, Seong Hian, you mentioned in an article before about how we're using the wrong metrics
Yes.
to measure and manage people, right? So in that article, you also mentioned that instead of asking, is this person fairly paid in line with appraisals, right?
Yeah.
The better question is this person's contribution truly seen, understood, and valued?
Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that, especially for bosses, right? Then how should we measure someone's performance if it's not just on the pay?
Yes.
Right? Because
True.
I also know, back when I was in an MNC, I didn't understand it back then, but back then my boss told me that even though you are quite junior and I was very young back then, that you bring a lot to the team. So I never really understood that. But then now looking back, and then being a boss myself, I'm like, yep, I see it. I brought the vibes up. People were more productive. Like people wanted to come to the office,
Okay.
right? So
Look at you.
how do you, little me? No, but how should bosses measure someone's performance then?
That's a good question. It's a very big question. Basically, the article I wrote, just for context, is that I was talking about how the salary compensation structure is actually a very outdated one because it starts from industrial era where you are putting a number of salary to the time you invested by showing up in the assembly line or operation line.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's one quantitative matrix to compensate another quantitative matrix, which is time. But in today's work, especially like your work, which is a lot of creativity, a lot of innovation, and a lot of collaboration and efforts and personal artistry inside, it's hard to put a number to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But business being business, the nature of business is always demand and supply. So the way we look at performance today, it is still based on demand and supply. But I also mentioned in the last episode that employee salary is a very artificial setup.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not saying artificial is no good or man-made is not good. It's just not natural because it is not based on demand and supply. It's based on a captive audience like employees that with a specific scope. Sometimes, of course, a little bit out of scope in here, but you have a role. And then you're paid a certain amount, right?
Yeah.
And currently the best way, in my view, is that to still measure performance based on effort and results. Because given their artificial setup, they still have to produce certain type of outputs based on the job roles. Yeah. The question is, that is still not a good way to measure performance because you can never put in, you can never measure the output, like the effort that your creators put in, right?
If she bring in vibes, then how you measure it?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So right now, I still advise my leaders and clients to say that when it comes to outputs, which is tangible, like you hit, you get, you don't hit, you don't get, you do rewards. But for all effort-based, you do recognition. Yeah. That means you call them out, you value them, you see them, you kind of really understand what they're going through. You kind of like, you don't give them your attention because as a leader, you not only gave your rewards only. As a leader, you also have your capital, which is your time, energy, and focus of attention, all these, and your care and love and all this, that you can actually give out in the form for the effort part. I think then it will somehow match to some extent. It is still not the best way to measure performance because technically the best way is demand and supply.
I understand. Did I already ask you what does recognition bring me? Because I feel like
Deja vu.
because I feel like now my boss, appraisal, right? Say, okay, dude, we are not giving you a pay raise, but
good
I
job.
really
But good job.
appreciate you.
Hey, I'll become
Yeah.
offended eh.
exactly.
Okay, then you notice me for what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I'm like, okay,
No,
boss.
I think
No,
that-
wait. I feel the only purpose where recognition makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Is when I leave the job. And then I need a referral.
Put in a testimonial.
And then they call my boss and my boss gives me the recognition I deserve. That's the only time it counts, I feel. But right then and there.
I feel like it's like rubbing salt into the wound. Like I'm really not getting a pay raise, then you're telling me that we recognize.
No,
Yeah.
I think Xiong Hian's point was more on like if you try really hard,
Yeah.
you really
And
are
you're
working
still
like
not
15
meeting
hours,
standards,
but you're
you know?
not meeting what
Yeah.
you need. Like you're supposed to close 10 deals.
You're
this
not
week,
delivering
but you
still.
only close 6.
Yeah.
But I can see that you're working
Yes.
very hard. So I'm like,
Then I cannot
Ryan,
give
good
you
job. You're
reward.
working way
Yeah.
harder than last month. Last month you only got 2. This month you got 6.
Yeah,
But it's supposed to
it's
be 10,
great.
but it's not there yet. But I'm like, I notice how hard you're trying.
Yes.
You know, so I feel like that helps with employee morale. But if you bring the results and you put in the effort, then you should
And
get
you
a
use,
pay raise.
if you substitute rewards with recognition, no go. People know you're trying to manipulate.
Again. Substitute. Sorry, I'm slow. Sorry. You substitute
Rewards with
with
recognition. That means instead of I should give you a reward, I give you recognition because it's free.
Yeah, then
no
that's BS.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I'm sure people do that.
Oh yes, of
Yeah,
course.
especially
I
in
believe
like
some agencies do that.
especially in like sales jobs, right? I feel like because they
toxic.
get a commission.
Yeah.
So their base pay will not go up,
Yeah.
but maybe their commission will go higher. But some people will just like, okay, good job.
But they are rewarded with commission. So it's really like whatever.
Yeah. So that's why I say like sometimes it's...
That's where transparency also all comes in.
And the converse is also a problem, because if this person puts in a lot of effort but did not hit KPIs, then you as the boss, you go and give them a pay raise. Then what about all the other people who actually put in effort, right? So it's going to cause a lot of problems.
That's the point.
Okay.
So it's a whole system. Yeah, it's never standalone in
Side note, if you think being a boss is easy, it's not
easy.
Yeah, I mean like that's why I say like recognition, huh?
Yeah.
Like I go home, my girlfriend will tell me I'm doing a good job, you know?
Thank you, then I go back to sleep.
Like boss, I don't need your recognition, I need a damn pay raise. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, we move on. Now we're going to talk about something that Ryan is currently going through.
What am I going through?
We are going to talk about managing a new generation of workers.
Oh, wow,
right?
I mean, I love everybody from Aiko, okay? But yeah.
Yeah, and I guess there's the reason why I brought this up is because there's a lot of buzz around these things about how how the new generation of workers cannot adapt. Or rather, it's a two-way thing. The old generation of workers cannot adapt to what the new generations of workers is doing, right? And you actually also wrote an article about this, about how to...
You write a lot of article,
HR expert.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
You wrote an article about managing people from
Gen Zs
the
younger,
Gen Z generation, right? And just to quote you on 3 quotes, you said, if a company or leader... Sorry, this is what a Gen Z is thinking. You can agree or disagree. If a company or leader cannot prove that I am valued or progressing in my career and I give you 6 months, I'm out of here.
Yeah?
If my boss cannot tell me clearly what I need to do or teach me how to achieve my goals, he or she is incompetent.
Ooh. To a certain extent, yeah.
That's crazy. If my leaders cannot define culture clearly, explain to me what management jargon like trust, leadership, collaboration, etc. look like, or be consistent in what they say or do, I'm not going to put in my best either.
Okay, no, that's not true.
Okay.
That's fucked up. Why would you say that? people say that.
I mean,
It's in my article.
Yeah.
She write one.
No worries.
If I cannot be convinced why the project is so urgent, in my opinion, I will not stay back just to meet a deadline.
Oh my god, that actually happened before. It is true.
To you?
Yes.
Oh.
If I show my worth by completing these tasks, I deserve an increment.
Very so often. Hey, you're right.
Okay,
You're
4
right.
out of 5.
And I guess the question is, for people like me and Janice, how do we then, okay, what must we throw away from our old way of managing people for the new generation of people?
Okay, we are not that old, okay? Like,
Hey, we are.
there are 50-year-old bosses. I don't think we're so far removed. But yeah, what should we change?
For some context, we are 12 years older than him, you know.
Okay, you are 12 years older. I'm
You also
11.
monkey, is it?
Yeah.
Hey, I also monkey.
Yeah, I'm 33. How about
Oh
that?
my god, I'm 50.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, shook hand.
Okay.
Just to let you know, this is how you should manage millennials.
Okay, yes.
And then you tell us, and then we tell you. No, but
love
for real. Like, what do millennial bosses need to, kind of update about themselves?
Yeah.
Their management style.
I think to kind of like narrow down to key points, right?
Yeah.
There are 2 things that I think is fundamentally different when it comes to Gen Z, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is that the concept of work and the sense of timing. Okay. And I think primarily it's because Gen Z's, in my article, basically I talk about it. It's like they grew up in a gaming world. Gaming means that they're constantly bombarded with feedback.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you're
so
right.
the gaming here can be when they, slay a boss in the game,
Slay a
RP,
boss.
in a game and all this, they hear the sound effect, they see the score coming up, minus how many, and then they see a lifespan or the health level and all this. They get a lot of feedback in every moment. In social media, it's the same. They get a lot of likes, they get a lot of posts, hearts, and whatever, right? They get a
Millennials
lot
also
of
can get
feedback.
likes.
Yes. So by giving feedback, they know. Therefore, it's like, where am I? How far am I? So in real life, like long-term relationships, learning, career, where you don't get so much feedback, then it's like it becomes a black box to the Gen Zs, for example. And then it's like they'll be questioning human nature, right? They'll say that, why am I here then? Is that what's going on?
That's so true.
Yeah, it's human nature. It's how brains function. It's just that the dosage of feedback that they're getting is so saturated. And therefore, the sense of timing, instead of last time we gave our bosses 6 years, now they gave us 6 months. It's just in proportion.
Whoa.
Every 3 years when we get a promotion, we feel that it's just right. Now you try to give 3 years one promotion.
Wait, 3 years for one promotion?
Yeah.
You wait so long?
So this is for the 50-year-olds.
Yeah, it's the 50 years.
Sorry, so long.
And for them, it's like 2 years or 1.5 years.
1 year, 2 years.
Yeah, and therefore now Gen Zs give you 6 months. I think proportion-wise
So that's crazy. How much does my company need to make to give increment every 6 months?
Yeah, that's why people who stay for 15 years will never catch up by job hopping. Yeah, that's one reason. The concept of work is very different. In my generation, work takes up easily 80% of my life. It means that...
What?
No,
it
because
means
that's
that,
just how it was.
Correct.
Yeah.
It means that because it affects all my lifestyle quality from my career. Therefore, the basket where I put my eggs, it gives me a lot of fulfillment. There are many eggs in that basket. The basket is very big. Therefore, I'm willing to invest a lot of time, effort, and energy into that basket. But today, Gen Zs, work is only one of a very small pie. You have many baskets in front of you.
I think to also add on, I think it's also because that when we are growing up, right, we are very digitalized in the sense.
Yes.
So, like, I mean, last time, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but last time people work for money, correct?
Yeah.
So, as Gen Zs, as they're growing up, they suddenly hear, investment lah,
Yes.
trading and all
Many
this.
options.
So, it feels like work should be a small part that funnels the other
Correct.
things that help us make more money.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's not like our main big thing.
No,
Yeah.
if in my days, there's no such options. That's why it all becomes one big basket. Yeah. So our concept of work is very different. And your concept of work, therefore, is very different because there's so many baskets out there to make money,
Yeah.
to have many eggs, you know?
And then I think the millennials are kind of like stuck in between, where when there were other options to make money apart from work, we were not old enough to have capital to invest in the first place, like trading platforms.
Yes.
But we could see it, but we're like teenagers, right? With no money. We only had enough money for the movies at that time. So then, by the time we could afford it, we are already like, we kind of already get into this certain mode. You know what I mean? And then then we look at the new generation who can use all the much more mature tools and stuff like that, right? That's why I think what Ryan said is very relevant of like, now in 2025, there are so many ways to make money, not only your boss who is paying you.
Yes.
You can do like a side hustle. You
TikTok
can do
shop
like...
affiliate.
Correct,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yellow
So like, why should I take this thing as so
In fact,
important
the
when
side
it's just
hustle
one
earns much more
avenue?
sometimes.
Yeah.
So with that being said, so bosses, what should bosses do then? Should bosses give more time off or rather accept that they are not the only ones that is paying them?
So it's to come to a reality that you're not fighting to have more time from your Gen Z workforce, right? But it's to how to use them and engage them more meaningfully and more productively. Because, for example, my son, 22-year-old, last year he went for an internship, right? He went in with a 3 months internship, and then the boss, being a Gen X, gave him some work to do to complete in 3 months. He completed in 3 weeks.
Wow, very
It's
slick.
crazy.
Because,
Your son is good.
thank you. But simply because they are a lot more resourceful. You don't need to do the Gen X way, which is like 3 months. But we can do it so he end up like another 2 weeks, nothing to do. And he wants to quit the internship because it's not being engaged meaningfully. So I think it's about coming together and have a conversation. Is that what is meaningful work? And how can I let you do more given your resourcefulness? Yeah. And use people meaningfully. I think that is what a lot of human beings, not just Gen Z, Gen X as well, want to be meaningful, right?
I think to also add on, like what I realized after managing a lot of Gen Zs is the fact that they want to know what is coming up for them.
Yes.
So I think a lot of like, even like my previous place that I work in, like my boss is a Gen X, right? It's just like, okay, do this today, then this is your project, that's it, finished. I don't know what's coming up next, right? But I know for the Gen Zs that I manage, they want to know, okay, I know this month I'm doing this, next month I'm doing what, like, or even as a job, right? Like, okay, I know that you're at this position now, right? I'll tell them, if you do well, blah, 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 you can advance. So I think when they know and they see that it's very attainable through the different projects that they're going to do, I think then they'll feel like, hey, I'm going to stay. I'm going to commit and invest.
And if every project you can help them see how you're learning, what are you learning, what are you looking for, and they start to see feedback, which are, by finishing the projects, I actually learned how to manage this type of client and all these things. They'll
feel
see
skills.
good. Yeah, that's progress.
But right, I know some people, because that time I was in a taxi cab driver, and he go and tell me, he go and say, hey, I tell you, this whole new Gen Z is very strawberry generation. A bit also must say good also. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, I see it, and I see it for myself firsthand, and unfortunately, that's how it has become now.
Yeah, because it's the feedback that we are looking for.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I think to answer your question is that the one thing that you say, what should you take away? Maybe it's the fact that I know it might be a bit weird for you to like keep on telling them, hey honey, you're doing great. But I think that's exactly what they need to be like, okay, you know what, I am doing great. I can like pull through, you know?
Yeah, and when you tell them enough they're doing great, then you can give them some development feedback and can take it. Because there's enough trust.
I realized something like with this conversation, which is that Gen Zs are very forward looking, like they're more proactive. And I don't know whether it's because things are getting so expensive that they're like, shit, if I don't look out for myself, I'm dead. So I better look out and like know what's up, right? Whereas like in like my parents' generation, like they're in their 60s now, it's like as long as I work hard, I trust that I'll be able to buy a house. These days, like for Gen Z, for example, right? If I work hard, but I don't know what's coming up, I might not be able to buy a house. I might not even have like basic stability.
True.
So maybe that's why. And like us as millennials, I don't know about you, but when I was like 10 years ago, right? When I was working in corporate.
And she was my age.
When I was working in corporate, I was quite proactive. I was like, okay, what do I do next, right? Like, how can I get a pay increment? If I do this, if I bring in X amount of deals, then can I be like this position with this salary? And my boss thought that was very weird. He's like, why don't you just wait for the normal promotional cycle? So even though I did that, that was like that was a one-on-one thing that I had to like pull my boss aside and be like, okay, what's going on? So I feel like millennials, right? We just let our boss tell us what our career should be.
Because it goes back to who the parents are. And that's what separates Gen Y and Gen Zs. Gen Zs are brought up by Gen Xs. Yeah, like my son, 22-year-old, right? So we are skeptical. We are the product of all the breached trust in society and in life. Yeah, we are the traumatized generation, and therefore we are skeptical about almost everything. It's like you put in hard work, you're going to be retrenched. You whatever, you're going to be this.
Maybe, then listen, I work so hard, so then I go and find other thing. Maybe that's why.
Yeah,
no, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
but Gen Y grew up in a much more hopeful generation is because they were developed or they were
Sorry, what's Gen Y? Is that
Gen Y is millennials.
Okay.
So millennials were brought up by baby boomers whom have actually lived through that kind of stability and consistency. If I work really hard, I'm going to make it. And they are the ones who, because they were so short of the lifestyle things, right? So when they have children, they shower lots of good stuff to their generation. Therefore, they are the ones who are most taken care of in a sense, and they are the ones who are constantly being praised. Millennials. Yeah.
Really?
And that's why they grew up with a lot of debt, because they grew up with certain type of lifestyle that their parents just gave and showered them with love. And then they inherit that kind of lifestyle which they can't afford.
Can I actually add on to something?
Oh my God.
I think just now you mentioned about what is it called? Like your boss say, or your boss gives you a set things to do and then you just follow, right? I think that's the one thing that Gen Zs don't do. Like it's against our nature to do, which is you say, then I follow.
Yeah.
I know, right? It's a
like-
bit weird. I don't know if you have that written down, but I think for us, right, is I don't care what you say. I want a reason for everything.
Correct.
So you cannot just tell me, okay, you just do this, then get it.
No.
I
No
won't
way.
do it. They won't do it.
No.
Like for managing, like we must explain to them exactly, hi, the reason why I'm doing this to you is because of X,
Yes.
Y, Z. Just know it's not personal, okay?
Correct.
You know, that's so true. So I haven't have an experience on like managing like maybe like 4 Gen Zs in my life before. And the one thing I couldn't understand was, or rather one thing I realized they don't understand was hierarchy also. And I don't...
Yes.
I don't blame them. I'm not saying like you should respect me or you should get down on your knees or whatever, right? But sometimes, or
There's
rather,
a time and place.
yeah, we are trained. The millennials are trained. For example, if the boss says something, before you question back your boss, you think about it first. It's not a conversation. It's an order in that sense, right? Hey, this needs to be done.
Yeah.
It can be simple as that. We millennials will be like, oh, okay, we will get it done.
Yeah.
But sometimes the Gen Zs, they don't understand. They're like,
Why?
why, why must today? Why cannot tomorrow? I'm like, what? What do you mean? Like the client says, then they will say, then you ask the client for more time. I'm like, no.
Wait, really? I thought it's more of like, oh, you need this. Okay, for example, like if someone asks me, like, here's how I tell my team, you need to get this done by today. I know it's a bit of rush, but cause client one, can we get it done, please? I think they'll be okay. If they fight back, it's because they know own self they cannot do. So isn't it up to the boss to say, okay, now I know my team cannot do, I must tell the client that my team cannot do? No?
Yeah, that's the difference.
Right? Yeah.
Do and don't want to do is also different, right?
Yeah.
So in short, is that Gen Zs are quite opinionated and therefore they're also quite judgmental. And therefore you need to persuade them. Because, again, you understand, because job is a very small revenue stream.
It's like I don't even care about you
You
that
know
much.
what?
You're just one guy out of my many options. Right now, the one guy of the many options is the job. So if you're not going to treat me right, I still have other buckets.
Correct.
I honestly think that is, out of everything we are discussing, that is the biggest factor. Because once you realize that you don't need that person's money, right? I mean, this is general life also, right? Like even like social currency, right?
Yeah.
I'm only friends with you.
Correct.
If let's say you can bring me somewhere. But if I have so many other friends that can bring me to the same destination as you can,
Bye-bye.
yeah, you're not that important.
However, can I say it's maybe also an illusion? Like you think you don't need this job because you can side hustle, right?
That's a
You
great
try
point.
quitting your job. You try quitting your job and see, can you make 10K a month?
You know, funny enough, like, because now my friend has a full-time job that is not paying her that well versus her outside job. So she's a personal trainer. And she's working a full-time job. And she's very stressed about it because the full-time job takes up most of her time, which means personal training can only be through afternoon onwards, right? Because she's a teacher, right?
Oh, long hours.
Which, takes away 8 hours of your time. And for a personal trainer, if you're earning 150 per hour, that's times 8.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of money, right?
Opportunity
She's like, oh my God, I'm
cost.
so stressed, blah, blah, blah. My advice to her was, as a freelancer, I always say, as a millennial, so I say, keep your job.
Yeah.
Because that is your safety, your
Safety
safety
net,
net. But I guess now I see the difference between our mindset is like, to them it's like,
Yes.
what the hell, I quit lah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they were really quick.
Yeah, they were. Why not, right?
But then when they really quit, I think that's where, I mean, it's a free market, right? It
Yes.
doesn't matter about your age or
Correct.
whatever. If you can make money, you can.
Yeah, demand,
But
supply.
I feel like because there's this idea now that there are so many options, you think even if I don't have this, I'll be good. But it may or may not be true. Like
Yes.
maybe, without your job, you'll really fly. But also maybe you'll just be broke. Or like
Correct.
the first month you gain something and then after that you just wear
Exactly.
out and you get $0 for the next 2 months.
Or
That's
you
also
actually realize that you didn't learn. You're going for short-term gain and you are paying the long-term gain. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why when they go back into work, they will stay for longer. So you always get the second one, you know. The one that
The
they try
reformed-
already is
the
okay.
reformed
Now you go already.
reformed
Okay,
one.
then you work for me again. You know what I mean?
That's a good perspective. I like it.
Let's move into what bosses find the hardest thing to do, right? I mean, this is based on what I'm hearing, right?
Okay.
They say one of the hardest thing to do is to fire someone.
It's always hard.
That
yes.
is Dewey's job. I would never be able to do that. Yeah,
So-
I
But to
cannot,
be a
eh.
good leader, you have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my question is how to correctly fire someone.
Is to let them see it coming.
Really?
Ooh.
People are emotional is because they didn't see it coming.
Oh my God, that is so true. That's like when someone breaks up with you, like, okay,
Yeah.
bye, I'm done.
Yeah.
Versus like actually
after 5
explaining
years,
to you.
don't want to talk to you.
Like trying
no
and trying and
sex
trying.
and all this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No
it's like-
sex.
It's
correct.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But
how-
then you see it coming, right? Then there's no emotions.
How do bosses make it see?
So that's where the
Can you try
conversations-
firing Dew the right way?
So
If
for
you're his
example,
boss?
9 months back, okay, before the decision was made, is that, hey, he's not performing and say, hey, you know, you've been 1.5 years and recently you've not been performing, what's going on and all these things. Yeah. So he said, oh, because he broke up with whatever. And then he said, okay, come, let's monitor your, performance. And I really need you to perform up to speed or something like that. So we have a conversation. And he knows that is not okay. So that's first conversation. Second conversation, after 3 months, 6 months, he's still, or you gone worse, right? Performance-wise. And then I'll sit him down and say that, hey, if you continue like this, we're going to have a hard decision to make down the line.
They're just warning.
Yeah, you have to let him know that this is a consequence. And this is a likely consequence given this trend. We're not saying that I'm going to fire you today, but I say that if you continue like this, I cannot hold you in the team. Because anything after 6 months or 9 months of non-performer as a boss, because the team pick up the slack. Whether to fire you no longer resides with me. The team will decide.
Oh, you're
Not
good,
authorized.
It's her job, right?
It's my job.
HR is all about politics.
Yeah, because the team pick up the slack. I don't fire him, these guys will leave.
Yeah.
So it is about fairness and reasonableness. And
Right.
therefore, I have to let him see it coming to say that, hey, I'll give you 2 more months. That's
Yeah.
the max. If not, we have to part ways. Yeah.
So let's just say then 2 more months come. And
Yeah,
then
then part ways.
you fire the person, then the person not happy.
He's not happy, but he will not hold me.
Because he
to
already
grudge.
know that he's
He knows,
the problem.
and I make it very clear to him.
Right,
and I'll
right.
tell you, I say that I know you can handle this because I'd rather tell you now so that you have time, or you want me to tell you then. Suddenly I tell you
Yeah.
you're okay. Suddenly I need to fire you.
I feel
Yeah.
like that is damn bad because the notice
It's
period,
bad,
they will
right?
just like start show
Exactly.
tension.
And that's where people get upset. Why don't you tell me it's my career and you don't let me involve in the decision making? If I slack and not perform for 9 months, it's my decision. Not that it's voluntary, right? Yeah. But if I need to seek help or whatever, I can because I know something's at stake. But if you keep telling me it's okay, and then suddenly you need to fire me, I'm not okay then.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess that also it's more fair to the employee
Yes.
because then they also have the chance to be like,
Correct.
okay, like maybe I am
Yeah.
slacking off a little. Maybe I should step it up.
Yeah.
A bit
or
more.
I should take a break. or
But
whatever.
where I feel like it's hard to fire someone, it's where it's through no fault of their own. Like, for example, the economy just sucks. And some companies, especially this year, they really have to downsize. Like,
Yes.
out of my 20 people team, I really have to cut 6 people.
Yeah.
And these are great people. They've
Yes,
been doing their
they're
job
great people,
for 5
yes.
years. But as the boss, right, you are just carrying out global orders.
Correct, yeah.
Right? So I feel like that's the most difficult.
Yes, and not the most difficult because actually it is really nothing personal. It's the whole department. And people know that it's nothing to do with my performance. It's actually not that
It's just
difficult.
unfortunate.
It's just unfortunate. But even then, as HR or as a CEO of the company, you need to let your employees know, see it coming. So in your town hall, you start to communicate a little bit about it. Not to create panic, but it's just to create some concerns. So last time as I was HR, I would track our revenue targets month on month. By the second quarter, if our revenue targets are off, I would tell my CEO we need to start to seed information because by year end, we know we're not going to get the kind of bonus. You have to let people know that how come it's like every quarter we have wins and at year end no bonus? What like that?
Oh my
All
God.
these are managing psychology
Yeah.
and expectations.
Yeah.
You don't tell your client that, the campaign is in the plan, then suddenly you cannot deliver, right? You don't. You manage expectation and let people have a heads up. So people can make decisions along the way.
Yeah. But I guess, I guess one of the most difficult things a boss can do is tell the employees that, hey, we are not doing that well. You get me? Like, hey, the company has no money. And let's say, I mean, like, I feel like if coming end of the year, 13-month bonus is going to come out. Everybody's going to expect it, right? And right now, I need to tell my employees, hey, we are not doing so well. I feel like 2 things, right? Number 1, that's my ego that is getting stayed.
Yes.
Number 2 is I'm looking at I'm indirectly blaming the salespeople that they're not doing their jobs.
No.
Wait, also at number 3, if you're working with Gen Zs, they might feel like there's no future here and they might leave.
Yeah. But then when they look around, they also find that, other companies are like that.
Yeah.
No, that's true. No, why? Okay, so like pay raises bonuses is heavily dependent on revenue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So if
Profit,
I say,
yeah.
hey, we are not doing well, that means the salespeople are not bringing in the money. So
Yes.
that's indirectly saying the salespeople didn't do their job that well.
No, sometimes it's the market. No
Yeah,
matter
I
how
mean,
hard you
like
sell, you're not
SIA
going to have.
in COVID
Yeah.
is clearly not doing well.
Correct.
No, that's true.
So nobody's gonna get a bonus.
Like MediaCorp recently, because nobody watches TV
Yep.
anymore. Or not a lot of people
Let
watches.
go people, right?
Yeah, because not a lot of people. Okay, that makes sense. That's market.
It's a market and it's a trend, it's a company and all this. And therefore, this is when the leadership trust currency comes in. Yeah. If your people trust you that you have fought for them, you're not getting the bonus yourself and therefore not passing down the team, they're going to stay with you. Because it's a fact.
what about variable bonuses?
Yeah, what
So
about
for
that?
example, like some people get 0.5 months. Some people you get
5 months?
0.2. I'm like, how do you guys calculate this? Hey, because right, I've experienced this before, right?
Yep.
Some people get 13 months, some people get half a month, some people get 0.2 months. So, and they were doing the same things and
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
or whatever it is. And then they literally texted their boss, like, hey, like, this is what I did. How come this person got a 13-month bonus, just joined the company, and then I get a 0.2 months?
13 month is actually statutory. So 13 month by definition is actually not a bonus, it's a deferred payment of your salary. So for companies that are registered after 1988 actually don't have the obligation to pay 30 months unless the industry pressure. Yeah, some industry by default they pay 30 months. So it's about a 12-month package or 30-month package, right? So, but if the company pays 30 months, it pays 30 months to everybody.
Yes.
It's
Okay.
a guaranteed
It's not a
payment.
performance
Yeah, it's
based,
not
right?
performance based.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, but you're talking about performance variable payment, is that then it's based on like bell curve or whatever. There are certain, because there is a finite pool of bonus pool based on the profit, right?
Yeah.
When the company earns, let's say 1 million profit, net profit, right? It cannot be paying out 1 million because you need some for innovation, some for expansion, whatever, right? And only a small, let's say 100K for bonus. Then this 100K have to then divided by the performance level plus whatever other considerations and then spread across how many people. That's why those companies who are very so-called nice and non-performer also pay bonus, then they have a problem. Then you get people like 1 week pay bonus, 0.25, that kind. Yeah. Then you don't differentiate performance from non-performance.
Yeah.
And over time, therefore, is why should I perform? Yeah. So then it goes back to all your culture and all this. It's all tied together as one piece of message.
So, okay. So, to be safe, don't set a 13-month bonus lah.
You don't have to if you're
Yeah, you don't have to
founded
if you
later.
register after 1988.
Okay, no, that's fair.
Yeah,
'Cause
like,
I feel
like agencies, I think media advertising, usually we don't pay 30 months. Yeah,
Yeah, you don't. No.
yeah, we don't.
Yeah, just
We
bonus.
don't.
Sometimes bonus.
Yeah, only variable bonus that's tied to
Yeah, so like
performance.
the 0.2 months. As well.
Ouch, that hurts him.
Okay, we will move on to the last few questions or last few parts of this episode, right? It's basically how we should view our bosses. And in an episode long ago that I did, I was talking about the whole NOC thing and everything. And then I said I had an experience of a bad boss. And what I learned from my experience from a bad boss is you can never change them.
Yeah.
If you don't like your job, if you don't like your boss, don't try to change your boss. Leave. Do you think this is still a correct way to deal with bad bosses?
You have perspective, right?
I agree.
You agree, huh?
Yeah, don't like your boss, leave, right?
Leave lah.
I mean, like, try to talk to your boss. But
Yes.
if you try, then end up you still feel like, wow, it improved maybe for like 1-2 days, then after that go back to its normal
Yeah.
course. Then you know that fundamentally the boss is the problem. You know what I mean?
Also, sometimes it's not that your boss is bad. Sometimes it's just the way that the industry and company is might really not be for you, right? So then
Yeah,
if the
maybe not a good
environment is
fit,
just
yeah.
really not a good fit, then you would be so much happier
Doing
giving
something
yourself the
True lah.
option.
But in this
to
case, it is
explore.
really a boss issue. I mean, I agree that the relationship with the boss shouldn't really stress you so much that is overwhelming you. If it's to that extent, leave. Because always find a greener patch, right? But in my past life as a corporate HR, I have talked many employees out of quitting their bosses because I told them, I say, it is today this challenge exists as your boss. What if tomorrow this challenge resurface as your kid, as your mother-in-law, or as your whatever, or your close friend, or close and loved ones, where you may not want to walk away from this relationship anymore? What are you going to do? So why not take this as a learning platform to kind of learn how to deal with this kind of people? What exactly did your boss do and not do that really trigger you? And let's work on that trigger.
But like that's like a cushion, no? Like I think after a while, if the fundamental problem is still the boss, then
Then you can decide, because there is a last resort, but don't put the last resort as your
As a
first
first-
resort.
right, got it.
Yeah. So learn to overcome, because whatever that triggers you and not overcome, it will keep coming back.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so
you're
true.
right.
And like if you just give up whenever things are
Yeah,
not your
get
way, it's
hard,
not really
right?
gonna help you
Yeah.
and
Try
drive
a tantrum.
you.
Then
Yes.
bye-bye.
Yeah, and then it will keep coming back, and then
Yeah.
it will come to a point where
Yeah.
you no longer can walk away because you are 55 or because whatever, right?
Yep.
So it's best to learn as early as possible.
On the flip side, like with disgruntled employees, right? Sometimes it's really the boss's fault, sometimes
Yes.
it's just the environment. What do you think, from an employee perspective, what do you think can help them have more patience and understanding for management perspective, which is something that most people don't see if you've always been working for someone. You only care about your salary and you care about what time you get off work and your bonus maybe, right? But there's so much going on behind the scenes. What do you think, what kind of advice would you have for the employees or people working for someone to help them get a better sense of the picture?
You mean for the employees?
Yeah. Like maybe your boss is not a bad boss.
Yeah.
Maybe there's more nuance to this, you
Yes.
know?
I think it's like in any, how we would deal with any relationship is to really understand the other party. Yeah. I always make it a point to understand how my boss think and what he's trying to achieve or she's trying to achieve and what is on his plate. Because honestly, from a business perspective, you are hired to solve your boss problem. Therefore, you hire your team to solve your problem. Right? Yeah. So if you create more problem for your boss to solve, then from a boss perspective, why do I need you?
efficient.
Yeah. So therefore, make it a point to support and see how you can actually contribute. So patient in that sense to really understand and kind of have that alignment of conversation. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a style differences. You actually don't disagree with what your boss want to do.
Yeah.
Right? Then align on the rules of engagement. Like maybe boss I may not respond after 8, for example. Yeah. And that is valid and reasonable. Yeah. Most people, 98% of the time, in fact, 99% of the time, don't wake up and want to be a jerk to someone else.
Yeah.
So if they are really stressed up and unreasonable or whatever, or throwing tantrums, they themselves are also suffering, I would say. So try to understand what's really going on, and because they are also trying to serve their bosses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Because you are HR and you still report to the person that hired you, like I feel like you guys will always go to head, right? Because the boss will have an idea of how to lead the company, but you are saying your idea sucks or this is not the way to do it.
Yeah.
Like, how do you manage that? Because like, do you still HR with your boss?
Yeah, that's
Right?
a good
Yeah, I mean,
question,
does your boss
yeah.
come in and ask you to like, hey, should I do this? Or like, can you do something for like, well, how does that work?
So my sanity check is always between that professional role and in that personal role. So I may personally disagree with what my boss do because
Okay.
of my personal values. But in my professional capacity, I would think like, okay, how should I do this? It's nothing immoral, nothing illegal. It's a preference, right? Preference, okay. Then how should I, to what extent? Yeah. And how can I influence and persuade my boss to come over to my side? So it can be a partnership like that, which I used to actually do that to my CEO. So we are actually, when it comes to people decision, we are actually the same level. Yeah. I'm the HR lead, you are the CEO. You represent business, I represent people. And we'll have a good argument and debate over it. That's how I work with him.
Okay, that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like, you just
So
take,
he is used to me like no disagreeing with him and all this, but that is what he values out of me as well.
Yeah, because if it's all business and you don't have
Yes.
people who want to work for you, the
Correct.
business won't grow.
Yes,
There
and
no people, no
and
business.
there will
Yeah,
be
exactly.
repercussion. Yeah, there will be repercussion if you strictly just look at business side.
and another personal question, do a lot of people hate you?
No, actually, they trust me.
Okay.
Or even more.
Really? Every time
Yes.
I hear people say, don't trust HR, don't
I
trust HR.
know.
Because they will always tell the boss.
No, that's why it's like you need to understand the ground and you need to be able to stand against management. So when I was running regional HR, I would put my neck on the line for my teams. I mean, for the people. And I'll tell my boss, no go. If you do this, these are all the repercussion. You sure you want to do this? If yes, I'll go communicate. But then we have to tank this. We have to do a damage control.
But it is true that like HR will tell the boss, right? Especially in big companies, because like you say your job is to make your boss
No.
look good.
no.
But then what if your boss is the CEO?
Yeah.
No. First of all, as a HR, you need to decipher this is a personal issue. There's nothing to do with the job. Just because someone
Yeah.
trusts you with confidential information,
Yeah.
you don't have to report upwards. And this is a professional issue. Yeah, and you need to decipher that. And sometimes people do come and tell me that, hey, Xiao Kian, I got an external job offer. I haven't tell my boss yet.
But they'll tell you.
Oh,
Yeah, but
my.
they'll tell and consult me.
Brave, huh?
So, and that
They
is
really
a trust.
trust.
Yeah, that's
They
a
really
trust that you
trust
can
you.
have with your people,
Yeah.
right? Then you can ask them, you want me to listen as a HR or you want me to listen as a friend?
But if they
sometimes I'll
say
tell
friend,
Yeah,
then
do you have
if
any
friend-
moral, like, must you
No,
tell them?
then if they say, I want to talk to you as a friend, I say, then let's talk over lunch. Yeah. And in my personal capacity, I have asked employees, say, hey, it's time for you to leave.
Oh.
I don't think you have a career under this department. I will tell them that this is my personal advice.
as a friend.
As a friend. But as a HR, of course, I can't tell you leave lah. Yeah.
And you draw that line between in the office and outside office lah. So outside
And of
office,
course,
you're a friend
yeah,
lah.
of course, it's like, under what kind of situation.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
tough. You're like, two different
HR is a tough
It
job.
is a tough
It's
job.
Tough job.
It is very tough. And nobody would thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
That is so true.
Yeah, you think about it, right?
Yeah.
She do
That
all
is
of
so
that.
true. Yeah.
Nobody say thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I receive.
No, I have met people where employees who think that the HR works for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, because technically they are the
Human resource.
Yeah, that's one, right? They are the mouthpiece
Yeah, we are the
for them
mouthpiece,
to go
yes.
and tell
That's true.
the boss. So if like I am not getting treated well, HR,
That's
like
one
do your job,
avenue,
go and tell
right?
the boss.
Customer service. It's like customer service for when
Oh my
your
God,
phone line is not working.
Correct.
So usually when people meet you, it's
Hotline,
always
hotline.
like there's a problem or they are not happy with something.
Yeah.
It's never like, oh my goodness, I just want to meet up with HR because I'm so happy about my boss and I want to feedback.
Yeah, it's usually grievance, right? But
Yeah.
when they come to me with problems, if I think it is their problem, hey, this is your relationship with your boss, you should fix it, then I'll guide them to fix it. I won't do it for them. Because it's not doing them
But then
good.
must you report that to like your CEO?
No, I don't. It's just at that level. It's a software. I don't.
Okay.
how is it very often where you need to protect the business first rather than protect the people?
It is. In my professional, I'm hired for the business, not for the
Yeah.
people.
So is it right to say that you're always business first?
I think it's
In a
my
professional
job is to help the business makes the best decision. Yeah, and therefore the people perspective must come in also. But it doesn't mean that I will always be pro-business. Of course, without business, there's no people to talk about.
Yeah.
Right? At a fundamental. Yeah. But then it's like if people, that people are really unhappy about certain thing, we need to fix it. We need to address it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like then you prepare for crisis lah.
This gives me
Yeah.
a different lens of HR already, Now I'm like, wow, HR. You guys
Thank
are
you.
amazing, man.
It is amazing. And I guess
you.
people will try to think of how to game the HR also.
right. No, exactly that. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, people are like, how do I game this HR? But now it's good to I feel like at the end of the day, people need to know that HR also works for the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And if let's say you want to game your HR, I feel like you need to go by facts. By
Yeah.
facts, by numbers, by everything. And that's how
Correct.
you game your
Yeah.
HR. If it's by feelings,
They'll be
Yeah.
like, sorry,
Yeah.
I don't see that shit.
No.
Yeah, they
That's
won't
why as HR it's important that we know our numbers as well. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like because I always talk numbers with my CEOs and it's not like feelings. I don't. Yeah,
Hmm.
because it's like very hard to justify, right? Ultimately, if the people are not happy, for example, and 58% of the survey say that,
Hmm.
it means that if you continue to do this, these are the repercussions. Are we prepared to pay the price? The choice is yours, CEO. It's like, you prepare to pay the price? Okay, I'll stick to my job. I'll help you do damage control. Fine. But it is an informed decision. Yeah, and that's what HR do.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
don't own decisions technically.
Yeah.
It's a business decision. It's a P&L thing, right? So you want to run the business like that, knowing the repercussion, go ahead.
You're like chief general to the president.
Yeah.
You sure you
Unless-
want to launch this bomb? Yeah. You launch, we need to
Yes.
send 1,000 people out. Oh my God, that makes a lot of sense.
So unless you personally really cannot cross that trigger, right? Then you have to leave. And I've left because of that. Yeah. So then you cannot align, your person cannot get over your conscience or whatever. Leave.
But actually, I realized a good HR is really useful for your career as well. Because I realized the ex-company that I was in, I actually asked the HR, like, what's the fastest way or best way for me to get a pay raise, right? Then she was like, oh, do this, give this number, write it in this way,
Yes.
and then go and tell your boss after
Correct.
you finish all
That's
of
a
it.
good
And then
HR.
I told my boss, and then I really got the pay raise.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have known this to structure it this way because I was so young, right? Like, so I think you can also work with your HR.
Yes.
And then it can actually help you advance your career instead of thinking of HR as like
The bad
enemy.
guy.
blocking
Yeah,
you know?
the
in a
gatekeeper.
Usually
way.
two
and
lah,
all
the
this.
finance and the HR that people hate.
Yes.
But
the
I-
finance because the claims come very late. And then the HR because she works for the boss.
I have actually persuaded someone to stay on the job for another 6 months because we know she's going to get promoted. She also knows. And because of the change of title, if she leaves now, she was an associate director. If she leaves now 6 months earlier, she's going to re-enter the workforce 1 year later as another associate director. I say that just hang on for another 6 months. Get a director so that next time you're coming back to a director. You know, things like that. These are things that we can tell you. Yeah.
No, that's true. That's true. But okay, we've run out of time. It's been 1 hour, 20 minutes.
Oh
How
my
about
God.
that?
Oh my
Yeah, I feel like it.
Talk.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I really enjoyed this.
Thank you so much
Thank
to the both of
you.
you guys,
Thank
Ryan and
you.
Sohan,
Thank
for coming.
you.
I think we learned a lot, especially about the Gen Z market. Right? I mean, to the bosses watching this,
Yeah.
if you guys are hiring Gen Zs, I feel like today Sohan gave you guys a lot of oh my god,
Valuable
valuable.
insight.
Yes, it just did hit me.
I saw your soul just
Gave you guys a lot of valuable insights that you can use. So if you guys are watching this and you want to send it to your other bosses, the other bosses fans, please do. And again, thank you so much, Sohan. Thank you so much,
Thank
Ryan, for
you.
coming and joining us. If you guys have anything you'd like us to talk about or anyone you want us to invite, let us know in the comment section below. If not, we'll see you guys in the next episode.
Bye.